Today we will be reviewing the newest 7th generation of the Ford Mustang, and let us tell you, it is the best one yet. With its brand new looks, new interior, new chassis, and more importantly, more powerful powertrain options, this is miles ahead of the competition, especially considering there is no more Camaro and the Challenger is going EV. So let us tell you more. All right. I'm behind the wheel of this brand new Mustang. Let me tell you more about it, and more importantly, how much I love this Mustang. I grew up with a Mustang. In my teenage years, I had a 95, a SN95 with a 5-liter, and it was really sad to see Ford go in a different direction with the 4.6, and over the years, obviously, they brought back the 5-liter, and this one is the best. This one is so good. Now with this 7th generation, this GT that comes with a 5-liter now is producing 480 horsepower, which is a 30 horsepower increase versus the last generation. And the Dark Horse produces 500. You're talking about 100 horsepower per liter with a natural aspirated engine. No turbocharging, no electric motors. This is a fantastic engine. And I'll tell you more about it as I'm driving. And you know what? This one I'm driving is with a 6-speed manual, and it is just beautiful. It is a beautiful combination. This new engine, this 6-speed manual, and that glorious exhaust. Just listen to that. Oh my God. If you're a car guy, there's no way you're not going to enjoy your drive with this brand new Mustang. First, let's talk about the outside. And you know what? This Mustang looks very similar to the last generation, but more modern, more edgy, right? It still has that new edge retro styling, but it really works. You can't mistake this Mustang for any other car on the road, but it just looks better. I mean, it looks wider, has a better stance, the new headlights, the new front end. Love it, love it. So the outside looks obviously has changed, and I'm a big fan of it. And inside too, wow. Versus the last generation, this is like miles ahead. This is leap years ahead compared to the last generation, especially with the new screens up front. This one in particular, this one I'm driving is a GT Premium. So it does come with a digital gauge cluster in front of your face and the giant 13+ inch infotainment system running Sync 4. It is such a big upgrade versus all the sync systems I've tested. It looks modern now. It actually works beautifully with no lag. So when you get inside this Mustang, it feels fantastic. It feels a lot more premium. You know, the seats, the Recaro seats, they look great. They feel great, very tight on my back. That's good. So you're not gonna slip out. You're definitely not gonna slip out when you're making the turns and bends and so forth. So you got a beautiful 6-speed manual here, gear shifter. Not the shortest throw, but pretty good. I like it. Nothing wrong with it. Don't need another shifter for sure. You have a weird electronic brake, and other guys will get into that a little more, but it's not like a traditional handbrake. Ford did some clever things with it. The steering feel, that's one of the things Ford really worked on for this new generation. The steering feel, love it, love it. The sloppiness of the steering is gone. The numbness of the feeling is gone. Very precise, good weight to it. And with the thickness, the leather, it makes the drive that much better. I'm such a big fan of the steering feel and input of this new Mustang. Ford did an excellent job. So next up, let's talk about the drive. It is absolutely fantastic. I love everything about this drive right now, okay? With the new suspension setup, I don't feel harsh in this Mustang. It's soaking up all the bumps on the road perfectly. And you know, I was taking this Mustang a little bit aggressive, you know, in the parking lot, on the streets, on the, you know, curves. You know, suspension does a really good job holding this Mustang to the road. It makes it feel planted, yet it can soak up all the bumps on the road. So you could definitely daily drive this, no problem whatsoever. Now on top of that, this Mustang is also very quiet. Ford done a good job with installation. Like right now I'm cruising around 45 miles per hour. No wind noise whatsoever. People passing by can't hear them. The only thing you can hear in here is that beautiful exhaust, and that's what you want. I have the radio turned off. If I got this car, that's what I would do. I leave the radio off and just shift non-stop like that, you know, just to hear the exhaust note. It is just awesome. Driving visibility actually isn't that bad. You think that something like a Mustang, you're sitting low to the ground, you know, the windshield, the roof is very low and everything's really rigged. But you know what? Surprisingly, I have a good amount of visibility up front, to the side, even rear. Even the blind spot. It's not the greatest, but I can even see out the blind spot too with that quarter window. Visibility is surprisingly good inside this new Mustang, and that's also fantastic. And you still get that snug feel, like a sports car feel. Good. Doesn't feel too cramped in here either. Good amount of space, good amount of shoulder room. Hip room is a little small, but good around the shoulder room. I can't complain. Overall, this drive is just I can't complain about this Mustang. I really can't. Normally, I'm trying to be objective with my review videos, right? And same thing with Josh and Steve. Try to always nitpick on a few things, right? Because there can't be a perfect car out there. Every car has its flaws, but very rarely do I come across a car that I feel is perfect for what it's supposed to do. And for the Mustang, it's supposed to give you a whole lot of fun. It's supposed to be a car that you enjoy driving every day and on the weekend. It's supposed to be a pony car. It's supposed to be powerful, loud, fast, right? But these days people want the tech, the comforts of a modern car or a luxury car. And I think Ford did everything with this GT that I'm driving right here. Like, I can't really nitpick on anything. I'm so in love with this car, I really just want to buy it. I think the convertible version would probably be even greater with the wind in your face and your hair, if I had hair, but I can't really nitpick, guys. I really can't. So, I mean, for what it is, for what this Mustang is intended to be and to do, I think Ford nailed it. I'm so mesmerized by this. I'm trying to be objective, but everything about this is good. Now, maybe Josh and Steve has different opinions than me, but I love it. I certainly love it. No other words.
So now I'm behind the wheel of the 2025 Mustang, and you know, so far, I must say, she drives beautiful. The ponies are putting in work, that is for sure. One thing I really love about this car is on the exterior, you've got these beautiful 19-inch bronze wheels, and you know, they look great. And hidden behind those wheels, you have big, massive Brembo brakes. And I'll tell you what, they certainly stop. We have tested that, and we've tested it a lot. So you can be certain that when you're flying around the track, you will get to stop. Moving on to the front of the car, you do have a like hexagonal style grille. Yeah, it looks sporty, it looks pretty mean with the tri-beam LED headlights. Those also look pretty nice on it, so I like those as well. Along with the new redesigned grille and redesigned headlights of the 2025 Mustang, you do also, of course, have a little hood scoop. Of course, that's to let a little bit more air into the engine because the Coyote engine gets hot and it needs all the oxygen you can give it. On the rear, since this is a 5.0, you do as well have a spoiler like all Mustangs, but you know, it looks really clean. The interior is quite nice. On the left-hand side, you do have like a textured piece on the door panel. It looks good. You do have your typical functions. You've got your 2 windows controls and then your side view mirror controls. To the left of the steering wheel, you do have your light controls for automatic or manual lights, as well as the brightness control for your display and cluster. Now on the steering wheel, you do have your typical controls. On the left-hand side, you have your mode selector, which allows you to cycle through your normal mode, your sport mode, your track mode, as well as drag mode, and as well as a custom mode. So you can even fine-tune it to how you see fit. You also have your driver assisting features, as well, like your how close you follow, your cruise control. On the right-hand side though, you have your volume, your menu selecting buttons, voice assistance button, and that's about it. Behind that, you have your turn signal on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, you've got your stalk for your windshield wipers. So very standard there, nothing out of the norm. Up towards the dash, you've got, again, this really nice textured plastic trim piece. It just looks good. It just makes it look good. I like it. Now, when you sit down in the 2025 Mustang, that's where everything changes. You have this large curved display in front of you. The right-hand side is about a 13-inch screen, and the left-hand side, that's your digital gauge cluster, your tachometer, and everything like that. They are crisp, extremely responsive, and they are redesigned as well for this year. So that's great. My biggest complaint about that though would be how to control just about anything for the car, you have to go into this display. One thing I really love about the interior of this Mustang is the seats. Not just because of how comfortable they are, but the looks that they provide. The red seat belt just looks so clean with it. And the tri-tone coloring, I really like it. Same with on the side panels too. You've got like a nice gray leather area, and it's separated by these blacks and other grays, right? And it just looks really good. I love it. So below the infotainment center, you do have your 2 AC vents and a nice red contrasting start-stop button, because of course this is a push-start vehicle like all modern vehicles are. And these are actually also where you'll find basically your only tactical buttons in the car. Next to the start-stop button, you do have a series of 6 buttons, and these buttons are to control either the exhaust or your favorites and things like that, as well as your traction control, your hazard lights, and your defrost. To the right of that, you've got your volume knob, which is nice that that's actually a physical dial, because otherwise you're going to have a really hard time trying to control the volume on this touchscreen as you're shifting in traffic and trying to stay in your lane and everything like that. It's just a recipe for disaster if you don't have that physical knob. Below that, you do actually get a wireless charger as well. So that's great, as well as a Type A USB port and a Type C USB port. Now, something that is unique as far as I'm aware to the Mustang is the electronic drift brake. It's very interesting because it's all electronic. You push it down to release it, you pull it up to engage it, and it comes up on your screen that, you know, it's engaged or disengaged. Also, within the modes of the car, when you go into like drift mode, you can use that as your drift brake. I haven't tried it because of course this is a loaner, so I'm not trying to go drift all over the place, but you know, it's definitely tempting, let's say that. Now above the infotainment screen, you do of course have a normal rear view mirror. There are no home link buttons on it though, because to the left of your rear view mirror, of course, you've got your driver sun visor, and on the sun visor is where your home link buttons are. So you do get 3 home link buttons there. Now, behind the rear view mirror is where things start to get a little bit more interesting, because you actually have a USB Type A port. And what that would be used for is any dash cam, or more importantly, in a sports vehicle or in a muscle car like this, is your radar detector. I'm sure everybody that owns one of these is going to have one of those up there. You do actually get quite a large glove box in here too. I was surprised at how big it is. I was expecting it to be much smaller, but no, it's great. Moving into the driver features, that's where things get absolutely loaded. It's just loaded to the brim with features that you can utilize. Whether it's your acceleration timer, which you can go from 0 to 30, 0 to 60, 0 to 100, your quarter mile, half mile, 3/4 mile, it's got it all. You can also alter your brake performance. It's got a lap timer if you're at a track, It's got launch settings so that you can actually control the RPM when you're trying to launch. You can enable or disable a shift indicator. And then on the right-hand side, you've got your drift brake that I'd mentioned. You've got line lock if you want to, you know, hey, do a burnout or something, because that's always fun. And what is actually really nice about this Mustang is that it's actually got a rev match. So when you downshift, it will automatically rev match for you. And man, does it sound good when you do. Also within the Mustang app and features menus, you've got things like your auxiliary gauges that you can change. You can change your modes. You can change the color theme, the cluster theme. Within the exhaust modes, it's got a quiet mode, which is good because then you can be quiet at night when you're getting home and you don't want to wake your neighbors. It's also got a sports mode or a fully open mode, which is pretty cool. It sounds really good when you've got it on that fully open mode, but it is loud. You do have all of your AC controls within this touchscreen, so that can be kind of difficult, but it's not too bad. They're all right there at the bottom. You've also got a heated steering wheel that you can control there. No ventilated seats because, of course, these are racing seats. Moving on to the back seat, of course, with this being a muscle car, it is very cramped back there. As you can see, Steve barely fits, and if there's somebody in the front, he's not going to be back there for very long. He probably won't last more than 5 minutes with how tight it is. You know, being 6'6", it's just really tough. Also, one thing I did not expect to see in this Mustang is a subwoofer in the trunk. Haven't tested out how it sounds yet, but I will definitely be doing that. All right, now we're doing 0 to 60 in the 2025 Mustang GT 5.0, and we are using the built-in 0 to 60. So let's see how she does. All right, 4.91 seconds, not too shabby.
So let's talk about the models and the powertrain option. Well, since this is a 2025 model, we don't have the data yet, but you can still go check it out on Ford.com for 2024 models. They have 3 main models: EcoBoost, which is 4-cylinder turbocharged, and then they have GT model, which is this one, V8 5.0, and then they have top of the line, the Dark Horse. For the EcoBoost engine, which is the base model, it is a 2.3 liter inline-4 turbocharged engine, producing 315 horsepower and 350 foot-pound of torque. But don't estimate this engine. From 0 to 60, it can do 4.9 seconds. So for the GT model, it has a V8 5.0 engine, and it's producing 486 horsepower and 418 foot-pound of torque. It can do from 0 to 60, 4.3 seconds.
But we actually got a 4.1 when we did our test, so.
Yeah, so you did better than the people who do it professionally. And for the Dark Horse, 0 to 60 is 3.7 seconds. That's pretty fast.
That's really fast.
Yeah, and it has 500 horsepower.
Crazy that's stock too.
Total, they have 8 different models. That's including the premium model and then the convertible. However, for the Dark Horse, they don't offer convertible.
And also the EcoBoost is only in automatic.
Yep, that's right. They only offer two kind of transmission. One is 10-speed automatic and one is 6-speed manual. What do you think? How do you like it in terms of driving?
I like it a lot. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's a head turner for sure too. Everybody wants to look at it. They want to race it, and yeah, I think it drives really smooth. It's a lot of fun. The engine sounds amazing. So yeah, it's just a blast to drive. How about you, Steve?
Well, Mustang was my first car back in 2002.
Oh wow!
And I had a '99 Mustang GT.
Which one do you like more?
Wow, of course this one. There's so much more power. Back to the old day, they don't even have this kind of feature. Like drift mode and then like launch control or lock line.
Yeah, you had to do it yourself.
Yeah, and they build it mainly for one purpose, for drag racing.
Yeah.
But for the past 10 years, Ford did a lot of stuff to the Mustang. Well, in terms of the drive, actually it's really good. It sounds really awesome. However, the clutch pedal is feel like a little bit higher, and the brake is good. It's sensitive. The steering is, in my opinion, is kind of a little bit loose in terms of in a sport car. The last car that we drove was a Nissan Sentra. I felt that it's more like tighter in terms of the feeling of the steering wheel.
And as for pricing too, for the 2025 models, like I said, like you mentioned, it's not fully released yet, but they will be going anywhere from $33,000 for the entry model all the way up to $60,000. For comparison, the 2024 5.0 is $46,000. So it's probably going to be somewhere in that 46 to 50 range. And honestly, for that cost, this is a hell of a deal.
Well, I heard they're gonna have 60th anniversary model that release, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I think there's only 1,965 of them. And
wow.
All that's really different though is cosmetics.
But I'm sure some collector will collect them, you know?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. And that's actually one thing that I thought was really cool about this one. On the rear window, it's got that row of all the past history Mustangs. I thought that was a cool touch.
Cool.
So in conclusion, what do we think of the brand new 2025 Mustang GT? Well, personally, I think it's fantastic. I think it's a great deal, especially, you know, if they're around that $46,000 price point in comparison to other sports cars. Like recently reviewed the WRX, and that was around $38,000. Well, personally, I'd rather spend the extra $7,000 and I would get this. How about you, Steve?
Yeah, it's definitely. Even the base model, EcoBoost, 0 to 60 is 4.9 seconds. That's pretty fast. I think it's faster than the WRX, right?
Oh yeah, especially stock.
Yeah, and how much is the EcoBoost?
It's less than the WRX.
Yeah, it's like 30 grand, 31.
I think 33, yeah, something like that.
It's perfect for teenager.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but hey, you know, if you want to put your kid in a brand new Mustang, be my guest. I mean, this Mustang looks phenomenal, drives phenomenal. I know George was having a gas of a time with it. Everything from the rev match to the different modes it has and all the features for like tracking things and stuff. I think it's just awesome. Well, there you have it. The 2025 Mustang is absolutely fantastic. Make sure you smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can be notified of our next review, and we'll see you next time.